Hey guys, let's talk about longevity in Marvel Avengers. So, here's the thing. I've kind of been thinking about this for a while, and I'm pretty certain everyone else has too, but they haven't really, figured out what's the biggest problem. Everything I've been seeing recently on multiple different YouTubers' videos is like things that they could add that would maybe add a couple of days, or might bring back some people for a couple of days. But what Marvel Avengers needs, is something to do in the meantime. Even if they added a raid, all it would do is add a couple of more days for people to play the game a little bit longer. That's all it would really do. Even if they added a raid to every DLC, that's all it would ever do. Here's the thing. Marvel Avengers isn't like Destiny, it isn't like Division. Two games that are arguably successful because they're still going on right now. And they're all games as a service. I could be wrong about Division, but I don't think so. Destiny 2. What did Destiny have? Well, it had a nice, good chunk of PvE content, but you can only do PvE but so much. So what did they fall back on when there was nothing left? Well, they had PvP. For the PvE guys, they had PvE PvP, which is called Gambit. So you had two different things that you could fall back on. Here's the thing. I feel like a lot of the people that play Marvel Avengers is not going to want to play PvP, but I do believe the game is set up in a way that PvP could work. So it's not like it can't. It actually feels good enough that I would say that the framework for it is there, right? So I really don't know, but I think like if we're going to think about longevity and how to keep people going, well, here's the thing I thought about when I started playing Kate Bishop. Here's the thing I thought about doing the DLC, and what I thought about, after I got her to a build that I wanted. I was like, wait a minute. So where am I gonna put this build at? I mean, right now I just enjoy playing her, but like, what am I actually, playing this build in? Because to be completely honest, I ran out all my old missions. I am grinding for the cosmic ISOs and Nornstone, sure, but what am I actually testing my builds in, right? And there's really nothing here. Even if they added a raid, I mean, that's not going to be doing much for you besides like maybe one run. And even if you have one run, it's still not really anything to really test your build in, because it's like, okay, it works for the raid, but are you going to use it anywhere else? Is there anything to do that in? And so there's nothing there. I think what would be the best thing for Marvel Avengers, if they decide to stick with PvE only, PvP, like maybe do a 2v2 mode or a 1-on-1, or maybe give us a 4-on-4. No, I don't know if that's possible, but I do know 3-on-3 is the closest thing we can do. That being said, it's not like the harm room doesn't exist, so we could always just go in there and do PvP there, but the room would just need to be bigger. But how they could do it in PvE, right, is, so we have two ways we could really do it. So first way would be a survival mode. I thought the Mega Hive was going to be literally just an endless survival mode where you could play with your friends. That's not what happened though. But what I was thinking was, right, what you could do is have the Tachyon Rifts in the Hive happen at the same time, and so you wouldn't, and you could choose this, they could decide to go like maybe like 30 levels or whatever, right, if they decide to do that. But I'm talking about a true survival mode. You go as long as you can, which means once you die, unless your teammates get to the next room, you don't get revived. Resurrections are a thing, but if it doesn't happen, you don't need to respawn at all, right? So survival, and what we could do is have special gear that would give you like it would be like a really highly valued gear that you wouldn't be able to get anywhere else, right? We don't want anything like that to happen, where maybe they could do something where like if you survive 30 minutes in it, like old Warframe, you would get like an exotic piece, but it would only happen one time that week. And so it's like if you want to have a chance of getting an exotics, you need to last 60 minutes or 90 minutes, you know, and every time a 30 minutes would go by, you have a chance of getting a exotic. But you don't, you know, it's not guaranteed. You might end up getting a blue, you might end up getting a purple, but there's the chance of that happening. But it would cause you to want to grind through your every 30 minutes to getting there, and you could maybe drop some like materials like polychirons and stuff in between waves, or every 5 waves, right? But I thought, like, you know, what am I really doing with this build? Because where am I going with it? Because right now everything in this build is going to work with the idea of being fun. But once I've completed the story, where am I going with this build? Because really, I have nothing to do. Yeah, I can get her to the 150. That's true. I'm not denying that. But what do I do then? And the thing is, it's like, oh, pushing out damage numbers. Oh, that's great and all, but what do I do? What am I building these damage numbers for? And that's the problem. There's nothing for that. It doesn't matter if you add a couple of characters. It doesn't matter if you add some villains. This does not matter, and I'll tell you why. Just because you add another villain, even though it may bring new mechanics, just because you add another villain does not make it, does not mean you're going to have a better longevity to the game. That does not mean people are going to want to stay, because there needs to be something they can test their builds in so they can feel rewarded for building right. And let's say you start at level 1 of a high floor, right? You know, it's pretty easy. You go to like level 5, and these things are like putting you through the dirt, like, you know. And it's like maybe it's like, oh, well, my defense is bad, so I need to fix my might a little more, or not my might, fix my resilience or my resolve a little more. Maybe I need to add a little more to it. Or A, it may not even be that. It could be B, I'm not paying attention to the parry windows. I'm not paying attention to my dodge windows, you know, something like that. And it adds elements of skill there, right? That'll allow the player to have some randomity, something to do with the build. And this is one of the ways of sticking with the idea this game is a PvE game. Like I said, PvP is possible, but I don't think they're gonna go that route. They could also go the Gambit route of PvE and PvP, but that's actually more likely to happen. But even then, I still don't think they're going to go that route. So the second thing I thought of would work for a PvE mode alone would be a roguelike mode. And so for anyone that doesn't know what a roguelike is, first off, you know, maybe Google it. But just a brief summary is, while you're going through your survival, or you know, whatever your story is, right, you gain loot that adds to you passively or actively, that you have to activate in order to become stronger, and so you become stronger over time. But once you die, right, and I'm talking about roguelikes from my experience. The roguelike could be something else entirely, but this is from what I've played and seen. Once you die, right, you return to 0. And so what you could do with that, the same thing I said about the survival mode, well, it's an exotic. You could drop an exotic for if you get to like level 30 in the Mega Hive or something, you know. And I think for the roguelike mode, we can't have AI. I think survival, sure, whatever, but once you go to something like a roguelike mode, you cannot have AI. And I say that because the Mega Hive kind of shows something of like you got to go through this solo, but your characters could switch out. I'm saying no AI and no character switching. You need to know what you're doing with that character and go through. And so you're going through the roguelike to get this exotic gear that you can only get in there. And I don't know how they would explain it. Maybe they say like the tachyon rift somehow affected your gear, and you didn't go with it for whatever reason. You know, I don't know how you could explain it, but something with a roguelike mode where it's something that's random. You're not always, maybe do something with the idea, oh, like let's go back to the tachyon rifts. So they're taking you back in time, where maybe we're back in Kamala Khan's town. Maybe we're during A-Day, right? We're dealing with different locations that in the Avengers storyline. Maybe we were getting chased by Hulk while we were fighting a couple of AIM robots. But you know, just give us something to do with one of those two things. I thought of something for like survival a while back, where it's like, if you don't want them to just be sitting around in each room trying to heal up or pop abilities, right? What you could do is have a timer that goes off in the background where it says, alright, after a certain amount of time, either A, you all die or get returned back to, you know, the Quinjet, because maybe you could do something with the tachyon rifts, or once you run out of time, you know, I think this is how tachyon rift how it works. I've never actually like let myself run out of time. I don't know, just never did. But let's say, you know, once you get to 0, you reset. Like you reset, we go back to the Quinjet. Well, what they could do instead of that, let's say they don't want to go to tachyon rift route, is like have it so that a boss comes into the area every time you get to 0. And let's say if you don't beat this boss, you just get kicked out of the mission, out of the survival, or you all die. First is like, if we're doing it where if you do beat it, well, maybe you get like an extra minute or two so that you can clear another room. And let's say the boss gets harder and harder, and maybe a boss comes in the middle of a hive level at any moment. You're not gonna know. You could be fighting Taskmaster on one level, and then for whatever reason Abomination comes in. Oh, that sounds hard. It would be something that would be your fault why that happened. But if it does happen, it rewards you with maybe materials and things during the battle. And so it's like, alright, well, if Abomination comes in now, right, and I'm fighting Taskmaster, maybe I need to speed up this fight, or let me take on that threat and potentially get a maybe a legendary or blue that I've been waiting on all this time. And so it's like it gives something random to the game. Now, the only thing I would say is the biggest problem that I see. So the thing about Kate Bishop is I've noticed a lot of bugs with her main character, or not main character, but with her the way she interacts with the world. The biggest bug I've seen is when you have floor switches, and you may think like, okay, what's wrong with floor switches? Floor switches don't activate if you step on them with Kate Bishop, at least in Utah Badlands, they will not activate. I noticed another thing where it's like the cosmic energy weapons and stuff is not there for Kate Bishop, which means that there's a lot of stuff that should be added to every character, because you would think it'd be a staple for every character, that is not added, which makes me worry that they may not, you know, go above and beyond for this idea I had. But that's more on CD than it is the game. But what I think like the game really needs is something for longevity, and to test your builds you're going to want to do survival. But if you want to have something that's random for everyone, that's at least for a PvE mode, then I think a roguelike would be the best thing. And then making it so that, you know, like I said before, a random boss appears after a certain amount of time, or you've got to keep your time up with doing the, and you can literally just use the tachyon rifts thing in order to keep yourself going through the roguelike. Sounds weird, I get it, but it's the best thing we could probably do. Well, PvE wise. PvP, I know I talked about it a little bit earlier. You could do like a TDM mode. You could do something like that, just as a basis for it, you know, learning PvP. But then maybe you could do like something like domination, or just like or capture the flag. Of course, I don't know how, you know, overpowered any character is going to be. I want to say that you know, a flyer is going to be overpowered in there. But playing Kate Bishop, I've learned that I can keep up with most characters. Doing her blink dash and getting knocked out of the air is pretty easy. When you're playing someone like Iron Man, it's really easy to get knocked out of the air, and I think Thor can get knocked out of the air as easily too. And so it's like, flyers are not going to have the easiest time. I'd argue, if anything, Hulk with Bone Shaker on may have a problem. Maybe a problem, but to be completely honest, I don't think it'll be too overpowered. It's more or less like the player's ability to dodge and parry. If they understand the combos, then they understand how to parry. And I don't think there should be a blip for you to know how to parry something, but it should be more of something that you have to learn. One of the things that you may see is think about For Honor. Although For Honor has the which side are they attacking on thing, which is true, a lot of players are actually probably paying more attention to, you know, their attack patterns, and so it's like it would be something they would need to learn. I think maybe you could do like a training mode outside of the PvP mode, where you could test yourself against each character and try to like parry or dodge all their attacks maybe. But when it comes to actually PvP, I think it's so simple that you really cannot just put, oh, let's put a blip here for a parryable or perfect dodgeable attack. I don't think you can do that, because if you do something like that, it's too easy to parry / dodge. But if you do it where they have to react on their own, they have to pay attention to the way you're attacking, then you have a higher chance of there being more skilled play. Still, and like I said before, they could do something like PvP, like Gambit from Destiny 2, where you're killing a bunch of guys to get like motes to put guardians on the other side of your enemy team, and so that they have to deal with those guardians if they want to put in motes. Well, what Avengers could be is maybe medals or shield cache code keys or something like that. But the main thing, if you get anything from this, if you don't get anything from this, the main thing I want you guys to understand is that this game needs longevity. It has to be something, because otherwise, if all you're doing is dropping characters and villains, you're not really going to bring people back to the game for more than a couple of days. That's a very obvious fact. I don't know why a lot of people have not noticed that, but it's the most important thing anyone else should ever notice. Like, just the number one thing you need to know from a games as a service game. If Destiny 2 and Division are still alive, I don't care how you really feel about those games, they're still alive. That's undeniable. So if you want to go off of a successful games as a service game, while riding off the Marvel name, then you need to figure out what they did right and focus on what they did. Because otherwise, your game is going to fail because of just simply not being talked about, and that's pretty easy. You've already lost a lot of good faith with a lot of the players. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, I know this is longer than a shorter video. I admit that, but I felt like I should have just got all of that out. I felt like there's a lot of things I wanted to talk about, and even though I probably could, like, summarize a lot of what I was saying, I feel like a more explained version of what I would have said is better. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you want to see more content like this, things I think could improve the game, or you just want to, leave a comment, tell me how you feel about it, and add to your own ideas, leave a comment and hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.